I want you to maximize your income as a real estate agent by maximizing your deduction. Yes, of course, we can increase our income streams, we can increase our lead gen, we can increase our income for sure. But one of the best ways we can also increase our income is to reduce our tax burden. The way we do that is by figuring out all the possible expenses we can deduct. And the best way to do that is with this free tax deduction worksheet I'm going to give you and walk you through today. Let's jump into it. Welcome back, it's Charlie Cameron. I'm a real estate agent, real estate investor, and a global team leader on a mission to help real estate agents everywhere grow your business exponentially and achieve financial freedom along the way. One of the best ways we can do that is by reducing our tax burden so that our net income is higher, baby. Now, what should we do to capture every possible expense? Use a simple tax deduction worksheet. So I built this worksheet to help you capture all the possible expenses, even lots of ones you may not have considered. And you can go revisit it quarterly so that at the end of the year, it makes your life really easy. You just hand this to your CPA, boom, he or she is going to maximize your deductions and get you the maximum income as an agent and pay the tax man the least within the tax code. Now, I am not a tax professional, even though I'm wearing my very tax professional looking polo. So you got to make sure you're seeking that professional advice. I am, however, very interested in learning how to maximize my deductions. So I spent a lot of time on this. Let's jump right into this worksheet. Before we do that, here's a QR code. Here's the link down below that you can use to download this worksheet. I did do it in Google Sheets to make it more accessible and free for everybody. Simply go there, grab that template, steal it, make it your own, make a new one for every single year, and then update it quarterly. Let's jump into how to use it. Okay, how to use your free agent tax deduction worksheet. Once you download it, it's going to be a Google Sheet. I want to make sure it's accessible to everyone. And I built this out in the best way I could think of to help agents in most scenarios get the most tax deductions and keep it organized in such a way to make it easy for your taxes each year. So the first thing I recommend doing before we even look at this is having a single business account and maybe one credit card if you have one to try and keep things in as few places as possible. Run all your expenses, run all your income through there. That way you have one spot you can look at every quarter and every year to tally up all your expenses and income. It certainly makes your life way easier at tax time, and you could do it quarterly here to make this easy at tax time to give to your CPA. So this sheet is meant to be an organized way to present all of your expenses and give them to your tax professional so that they can get the most bang for buck deductions. This is not meant to suit everybody's exact scenario. For example, you may not want to take the standard deduction on a home office. You may want to actually itemize each item. So this is just built the easy way, but I have IRS references to the source for that information on how you would go one way or another should you decide to do it differently. I built this into 9 categories here, though you may, and suggestions for items within each category, kind of the most common things that agents may spend money on in each category. But again, not all inclusive. So you may find that, oh, you know what? You missed, I don't know, tickets to events. So you might want to add a line in here and add a new line to accommodate an additional expense, right? I don't know why it does not want to let me, right? So I could insert one row above and add an expense in here if I wanted to. And this is not meant to mean you have to find expenses in each category. If you didn't do any travel to go to events, totally cool, right? There's just nothing to add in there. So you can leave things blank. That's fine. But this is meant to help you capture as many expenses as possible so that you can maximize your tax deductions, therefore increasing your bottom line net income. So a couple of these are, while most of these are, hey, give me either, if it's a subscription, like your monthly expense, you put it right here. Let's say that we spend, I don't know, $10 a month on antivirus software. It'll just total that annual up for you. But let's say you also buy a, disk cleanup package in Q1. You can add that in. Let's say you just pay one time a year and it's $120. It'll still do that math correctly for you. Of course, you could change these formulas if you want, if needed, but this is meant to make it pretty easy. So if you got a monthly subscription related to that expense, you just plop it in this column B. If you look at things quarterly and tally things up, let's say you buy a printer in Q1 for $80 and you buy some ink for $50 and you buy some paper for $20, right? It's going to add those up for you. Now there's two of these that are unique. One is your home office deduction and one is your standard mileage deduction. So these are the simplified ways to take these deductions. So if your home office is 10 foot by 10 foot, that's 100 square feet. It's a $500 deduction total. You can itemize. So if you decide how my home office is, I don't know, 1/5 of my entire home, and I want to itemize my internet bill and my electric bill and my water bill, you could go through that process as well. Talk to your tax professional about that. This is just meant to do it the easy way. Make life easy. Let's say you did 5,000 miles to your business. This is also today's standard IRS deduction for that. Automatically calculates it for you. Of course, your CPA is still going to check these things. But if they get this file and they see all your expenses lined out, and they see how many miles you've done, and your home office square footage, their life is going to be way easy. So what this is going to do is save you money and processing time of your CPA having to also be your accountant and go through line by line, more like bookkeeper, go through all your expenses and like figure all this out for you. Or you can just do this quarterly, save hours and hours and hours and hundreds of dollars from your CPA. Now remember, legal and tax expenses are still deductible expenses. So there is a line for that down here, tax and accounting expenses, right? So let's say you did your taxes for last year, but you paid for it this year for this entity or for your agent stuff. Don't forget to deduct that this year. Likewise, if you are paying yourself a W-2, now if you're using a tool like Gusto, you'll be able to just import that data and give that to your CPA. So you may not have to put down here how much you're paying contractors, how much you paid yourself, the employee benefits you paid yourself, because that'll all be kind of rolled into Gusto. But you'll want to capture as much as you can if it does not, right? So that's what these lines are meant to be. With a couple notes in there. So if we just kind of walk through the categories real quick, home office equipment, so not only your home office deduction, but what are you using in your office as an agent? What paper, pens, notebooks, computers, printers, antivirus software, office suite, like Office 365 is a deductible expense. If you're using it for mostly business, right? More than 50% of the time. That's kind of a general rule, though some things like a Section 179 vehicle expense might be 100% of the time. So again, tax professional is going to help you out, but they'll look at this and they'll go, yes, that is 100% deductible, or no, that's only 50%, and they'll apply that logic to it. Daily supplies and materials. This is things like yard signs, riders for your signs, car magnets, business cards, lock boxes, open house signs, open house materials, snacks for your open house attendees, right? All that are kind of our daily supplies as agents. Advertising and marketing. What are you spending on flyers, on postcards, on mailers, paper lead programs? Are you spending ad spend, digital, print? What about listing photos? What about staging costs? What if you paid to clean the house? All of those things are things you need to deduct. Vehicle expenses. We got that standard mileage deduction, but also don't forget about parking fees. Don't forget about tolls. You can also take this the other way. Again, there's the publication. You can go look at how to kind of itemize deductions and what is or isn't included there. License and memberships, all your realtor, your MLS fees, your brokerage monthly fees, your digital lockbox membership, your state licensing renewals and fees, all of that is a deductible expense for you to be an agent, so take it. Travel and events. So let's say, like I like to go to EXPCon every year. Guess what? My hotel, my flights, the event ticket, all of those are deductible because I'm going for a professional development event, right? If you go to additional courses, if you have continuing education you have to pay for your licensing requirements, meals at your events, keep track of all that. Keep the receipts because those could be deductible or at least partially. Meals are usually 50%. So make sure you track all that. Very important. Certainly makes going to the events more worthwhile. If you're not also coming totally out of hide, at least it gets to reduce your tax burden, right? I think that's great because it's an incentive for you to go grow your profession and grow your income, right? Client expenses, don't forget your closing gifts, taking them to meals, other gifts or gift cards, those are deductible expenses. Other software and tools, right? Let's say, like me, I have a lot of military buyers. They're coming from overseas. I got to talk to them on Zoom a lot. Zoom is a deductible expense. Canva, every agent's best friend, deduct that. You got a CRM that you have to pay expenses for? Like for me, my CRM's included, but I do pay $10 a month to have a vanity domain, to have my own personal domain instead of a brokerage related one or a subdomain. So that costs me $10 a month. I'm going to plop that in there and I'm going to take it, right? Because even though that's only $120, so the tax burden difference is small, these things add up very quickly. All right, you fill this thing out and you're going to go, holy moly, I'm spending how much, right? You may find you can eliminate some expenses. So there's an extra bonus for you. I use Zapier a lot to automate hundreds of processes a month for myself and my team. Any other additional website expenses, mileage tracking software. If let's say you pay for Mileage IQ to track these miles up here, hey, deduct that. Any social media tools you're using, lead generation tools, employment payment tools like Gusto for me, $50 a month. You bet I'm going to take that $600. And then labor and services. So you're paying a freelancer to do a logo. If you're paying a transaction coordinator per transaction, if you're paying maybe assistant on your team to do social media, if you're paying a virtual assistant, all those things should be deducted. Of course, your tax and accounting and legal, like we mentioned, paying employees, employee benefits, Social Security, and taxes you're paying on behalf of your employees as well. So it's one of the advantages of going to kind of tax as an S Corp is, hey, you're no longer paying self-employment taxes. You're switching to Social Security taxes and employer taxes. However, those become deductible from your business. So that's kind of a nice thing there. Now, there's another tab here. I'm not going to read it to you, but this is kind of telling you why you might want to file an entity and why you may want to file as an S Corp with the advantages of those. So kind of talk through that piece. I chose to do that. It has certainly reduced my tax burden. I think most agents who are producing should consider that as well. Again, this is not legal or financial advice. However, there are some smart moves you can make to protect yourself and make better financial decisions to net more income. So definitely talk to an attorney and talk to your CPA about this and go forth and conquer. I hope you go out there and crush your tax deductions with this worksheet. If that was helpful to you, go ahead and give me a subscribe, give me a like, please. I'd really appreciate it. And if you're interested in partnering with an amazing team that helps you do things like this and grow your business and achieve financial freedom with daily coaching, mentoring, support, courses, and resources, all for free, go to agentwealthhustle.com, check out Partner with Us. We'd be happy to talk to you about partnering with our team at eXp. And I hope you go out there and crush it today. Cheers.